The Bring It On movies in chronological order. All 7 of the Bring It On movies can be watched in release order or any order the audience chooses. The teen cheerleading comedy series began in 2000 with the release of the very first Bring It On movie, which was helmed by Ant-Man's Peyton Reed. The film follows high school cheer captain Torrance Shipman, Kirsten Dunst, as she scrambles to come up with an original routine for her team, the Toros, to perform at a national competition, after discovering her predecessor plagiarized choreography from rival squad, the East Compton Clovers, led by Gabrielle Union's Isis. Although Bring It On was initially dismissed as just another teen comedy, it's become a cult classic in the years since, thanks to its exploration of race, class, and cultural appropriation through the lens of the wealthy, suburban, and predominantly white Toros, and the low-income, inner-city, and predominantly black East Compton Clovers. The movie also spawned a stage musical, aptly titled Bring It On. The musical, whose score was co-written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and a total of 5 direct-to-video sequels, and a made-for-TV horror-themed movie to date. The Bring It On movies aren't connected to each other beyond their basic theme, and each features different characters, cast members, and settings. The only downside to the story is that Isis and her East Compton Clovers do not get to be a larger part of the story as a whole. The original Bring It On movie is easily the best of the bunch and features a stellar cast. With Kirsten Dunst in the lead as Torrance, a group of cheerleaders discover that all of the cheers they know were actually stolen by their former captain. The reveal is thanks to new girl Missy, Eliza Dushku, whose old school actually played against the very school whose cheers were stolen. Torrance and her squad set out to prove that they can craft their own routines and are worthy of their status as champions. Meanwhile, the team whose routines were stolen tries to find their own way to a national championship competition, led by Gabrielle Union as Isis. Their team, which is predominantly black and comes from a low-income high school, does not have the same opportunities the predominantly white and wealthy team, led by Torrance, does. East Compton Clovers team members include Shamari DeVoe, Natina Reed, and Brandy Williams from the musical group Black. They also perform on the movie's soundtrack. The cheer routines are fantastic. The cast has amazing chemistry. There is a rom-com element to the story, and both teams get a satisfying ending. The only downside to the story is that Isis and her East Compton Clovers do not get to be a larger part of the story as a whole. The success of Bring It On is what paved the way for the franchise to continue, however, as it became clear that there was a market for movies about cheerleading. The first sequel is backed by the same producers as the original movie, but it is the only Bring It On sequel to have the same team. While it is clearly set a few years later in the world of competitive cheerleading, this time around, it's collegiate cheerleading instead of high school cheerleading, and none of the original cast reprise their roles or make cameos. The only connection between the two movies is the name and the subject of cheer. Here, Whittier, Ann Judson Yeager, and her best friend from cheer camp Monica, Fawn Chambers, head to college with the intention of getting on the varsity squad. While they have the skills to do it, they find that the varsity squad is incredibly demanding and includes plenty of backstabbing and betrayal. Eventually, they leave the team to start their own, more inclusive team to fight for the championship themselves. What is great about this movie is that it allows the audience to see cheerleading as a true competitive sport that is lauded. The new team is made up of misfits and talented individuals from other organizations, like the drama or dance departments, who have seen their own funding cut in favor of cheerleading. Seeing the different types of people come together to pull off a cheerleading routine is fun, but also unrealistic, as most collegiate-level cheerleaders have been in some form of competitive dance or cheerleading their entire lives. While not every cast member can convincingly pull off crumping, it's still a great way to demonstrate that a cheerleading squad can put their own personality into their routines. Bring It On, All or Nothing takes the movie franchise back to high school and again features no links to the previous films outside of cheerleading. This movie creates a new stake in the competition as the winning cheerleading team gets to appear in a music video for Rihanna. It also creates a new conflict as the cheer captain, from a higher socioeconomic class, finds herself in a working-class public school when her father loses his job. No longer the captain and completely out of her